learned two things about Kamala this election. She's good at raising money and she's good at blowing it. But money can't buy you elections, especially when you spend it like she did. She raked in more than $1 billion and is somehow now in debt. The Washington Examiner dug through her financial statements and gave us a good clue why. Kamala's campaign was getting whacked like a piñata, while D.C. leeches hoovered up all the cash. She spent over $50 million on payroll. Trump's campaign spent less than 10. Another 12 million went to consultants, and 20 million went to their little concerts with Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Christina Aguilera, John Bon Jovi, remember him? They even had to cancel a performance by Alanis Morissette because they were running low on cash. Isn't that ironic? Campaign insiders are mad at the bosses for wasting donor money on concerts instead of ads about, the economy. Quote, they said they were spending to zero. I guess they overshot zero.
I literally think y'all don't even fathom how much $1 billion is and how financially irresponsible you have to be to blow $1 billion on nothing. Okay? $1 billion, just to conceptualize, $1 billion is 1,000 millions. A million thousands. You could essentially pay your rent for more than 83,000 years if your rent was $1,000. The average person could not spend $1 billion in a lifetime. It is just so disappointing that this is the person that y'all wanted to be president, and she couldn't even figure out how to spend the money for her campaign. She essentially burnt the money. Thank God she didn't win.
So it looks like Kamala Harris needs a little bit of help when it comes to money. And the fear that's going around is that she's not good for most of what she spent. In fact, everyday vendors and staff, they're now worried that they're not even going to get paid. And yet their campaign has a lot of money for celebrities that Diddy partied with. What's up with that? A lot of people are calling this a money laundering scheme. Sources claim that Obama campaign alum Stephanie Cutter pushed to have concerts for Harris. The idea was to convince lower propensity voters to the polls, aka voters that didn't actually give a damn about Kamala Harris and were really only there to watch a free concert. Yeah, how'd that work out for him? As a matter of fact, it explains why a lot of people were annoyed when Beyonce didn't perform a single song in her rally, because her campaign was riddled with all these distractions that now has her in the hole for $20 million in debt. Now, you would think that celebrities who really believed in Kamala Harris's message would just show up and not even ask for a cent. But these people, they were paid. They were all paid, because not one of these people believes in Kamala Harris. It was always about the money. And I'm glad you guys heard me over the last several months. I've been saying this. And even Philadelphia's DNC chair is blasting Harris's campaign for all this nonsense and waste of money. Watch.
Effective campaign here by the Harris team. And then he said that Philadelphia concert on the eve of the election was a total waste of money.
I got more complaints, including my daughter-in-law. Traffic jam after traffic jam. You couldn't get out. So what happens? They're mad. What? And why is this happening? Because of a concert that she showed up at 11:30 at night? Give me a break.
Do you think it changed anybody's mind, or?
It doesn't look like it, does it? The outcome didn't show it. I would think probably most of them people weren't even from the city of Philadelphia.
The Harris campaign fired back, quote, if there's any immediate takeaway from Philadelphia's turnout this cycle, it is that Chairman Brady's decades-long practice of fleecing campaigns for money to make up for his lack of fundraising ability or leadership is a worthless endeavor that no future campaign should ever be forced to entertain again.
This is the same party that called out Trump's bankruptcies, right? And the guy's a businessman. He's still worth billions of dollars, but they gave Kamala Harris $1 billion and she's still 20 million short. Who don't know how to run a business? This has got to be a record of some sort. And she blew $1 billion in less than a year and still managed to end up in debt. Now, remember, guys, she was the one who kept talking about an opportunity economy. I'm so glad she ain't going to be steering this ship. You know what I'm saying? She's the same one who wanted to give money to first-time home buyers. All that's going to do is make home prices go up higher by $25,000 at least. Even when it's clear that she can't even budget her own campaign or at least watch over what's happening with the money. She's very much like the typical Democrat politician who's willing to spend money until it's all gone and then put us further in the hole. Where are we at? I don't know, 34, 32, 36 trillion dollars in the hole right now for the country. Granted, after spending all that money, she still managed to lose the election. But the belief from her supporters was there. And just to prove the point here, do you guys know how much she spent on that Call Her Daddy podcast? So the interview happened in Washington, D.C., and her campaign spent more than $100,000 to recreate Alex Cooper's podcast set there in some hotel room. It's a good thing she didn't appear for Joe Rogan's podcast, because who knows how much she would have had to spend to try to recreate Joe Rogan's set, right? It just shows us that her campaign was completely manufactured with money. But it's not even like she got her money's worth. So this is Bob Iger performing for Kamala Harris's campaign in Wisconsin. Watch.
Yes, we'll rally round the flag, yo. We'll rally once again, shouting the battle cry of freedom. We will rally from the hillside, rally from the plain, shouting the battle cry of freedom.
Now, I'm not sure how much they paid this band, but whatever it was, they overpaid them. Kind of like how she paid Oprah $1 million for her production studio alone. It just proves the point of President Trump. Kamala Harris has no clue as to what she's talking about when it comes to the economy. And to give her the responsibility of guiding this country financially, oh man, that would have been catastrophic, guys. But the president is willing to help however he can. Either that or Trump is just teasing Kamala at this point. In a post on X, Trump wrote this: "I'm very surprised that the Democrats who fought a hard and valiant fight in the 2020 presidential election, raising a record amount of money, didn't have lots of money left over. Now they're being squeezed by vendors and others. Whatever we can do to help them during this difficult period, I strongly recommend we, as a party and for the sake of the desperately needed unity, do. We have a lot of money left over in that our biggest asset in the campaign was earned media. And that doesn't cost very much. Make America great again." Wow. Wow, guys, that was powerful, wasn't it? Now, I'm not sure if he really wants to help or if he's just bragging at this point, but it could be a mix of both. But I think he deserves it. It's no wonder Trump won by a landslide, blew the doors off of her. And it's why a lot of people believe that he's the guy to make things much easier for all of us soon. But what do you think about Kamala Harris's money-burning campaign? Was it worth it?
Quotations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. Yep. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means your family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, you know, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around and you're about to find out.
Wow, screwed around and about to find out. I don't know, guys. Please let me know what you think. Do you agree with Ana Navarro? Do you disagree with Ana? Let me know, guys. Supporters of Trump, they're seeing Holman's appointment as a long overdue response to years of rising concerns over immigration enforcement. Holman, known for his law and order approach, aims to address a border crisis that has spiraled out of control under the Biden administration. Trump wrote on Truth Social, "I'm pleased to announce the former ICE director and stalwart on border control, Tom Holman, will be joining the Trump administration in charge of our nation's borders. The borders are including not limited to the southern border." But here's the thing: not limited to the southern border, the northern border, all maritime and aviation security. But here's the thing, guys. Ana Navarro seems to have overlooked the fact that a significant, overwhelming amount of Hispanic voters actually voted for Donald Trump. So they understand this, but they're still in support of Trump, clearly. And if you look at the fact that Donald Trump won Arizona, also, again, a border state, Americans and, Hispanics are supporting Donald Trump's policy. At least that's the way it seems to me. And they're looking to deport people who are here illegally. So So I feel like Ana Navarro is trying her best to install this fear across the board that anyone and everyone is going to be deported. She mentioned abuelas, grandmothers, and family members. It's like, come on. If you're here legally, I don't see that there's anything to worry about personally. That's just my take on it. Let me know what y'all think. And then, of course, there's a Kamala Harris staffer that's calling on Joe Biden to resign in order for Kamala Harris to be able to be president for a few weeks. It's kind of crazy. Can you imagine Joe Biden losing his job just to allow Kamala Harris to play playing, like Halloween? We just play dress up and let's just be president of the United States for the last couple of months and weeks. But this is actually being suggested here. Take a listen.
We're now 71 days from Trump taking the oath of office. What is the most important thing that everybody is looking for? That is my question. I'll start with you.
Joe Biden has been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States. Whoa. It would absolve him from being able to from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats.
Okay, this is not.
Wow, like is this? What is it? What is it with Democrats and their need for attention, like to stir up drama? Like, what is it with that, guys? Now, here's the other thing. So Joe Biden would literally have to lose his job. They've already stolen his attempt to campaign for to run for re-election. They've already, the coup has already played its course, and they've already stolen that opportunity for Joe Biden, which, by the way, Joe Biden won the nomination. Kamala Harris didn't get a single vote for the nomination, okay? So not only have they stolen Joe Biden's attempt to re-elect him or run for re-election for the presidential campaign, but now they're trying to basically force Joe out prematurely. Can you believe this, guys? They're now trying to get Joe Biden to resign, effectively make this guy lose his job so that Kamala Harris can be the first black woman president of the United States. And I think that there's a lot of pushback on this. And this guy is dead serious. You guys see this guy's facial expression, right? You hear his demeanor and his tone. He's dead serious about this request to get Joe Biden to step down. And they also want to bring Liz Cheney into the building. They want to bring Liz Cheney in. The argument here is that they want to make sure that they want to pave the way and make it so it's easier for a woman to become president in the future, at least from the Democratic Party. I think that this is the silliest idea I've ever heard personally. Please, guys, what do you guys think about this? Is this even legal? Is this I feel like they're throwing the Constitution in the trash. This is why we need Donald Trump in office, guys. But let's hear more from this guy here, this Kamala Harris staffer.
Point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats.
Okay, this has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now in the season of House of Cards.
This is wild, guys, and he's dead serious. I mean, you've heard CNN's Dana Bash. I mean, like, he is dead serious about this. She said, so Dana Bash says that he's jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show. Dana Bash, ladies and gentlemen.
My voice, yes, was ignored, but tens of millions of Americans' voices were ignored. I encourage my colleagues, Democrats particularly, to get out into rural America and sit with people, listen to them, have a cup of coffee, and understand they're not racist, they're not bigots, they're not anti-Semites.
It's not just about the campaign, it's about what does the Democratic Party stand for.
The reason we didn't win ultimately is we didn't listen enough to people on the ground.
So some of the Democrats' harshest critics are fellow Democrats, reflecting on the millions of Americans turning away from the party as they grapple with their election defeat. Rich Edson's tracking all that. He's live in Washington, D.C. There was a lot to say on Sunday, and they said it, Rich.
Yeah, they did, Bill. Democrats say they know there's a problem. They're just all over the map on how to fix it. Some say the party needs a much different approach.
Hills to overcome. The fact that her campaign started, in the middle of the summer, obviously it would have been better had that not been the case. Now, we can't go back and change history. We can't go back and change President Biden's mind as to whether he should have launched a re-election effort.
Wow. So now it's Joe Biden's fault. It's Joe Biden's fault that Kamala Harris lost the election. Joe Biden should have given Kamala Harris a longer runway to campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me know. Is it Joe Biden's fault? Do you guys agree with this logic?
Speaker Nancy Pelosi told the New York Times she thought there'd be an open primary to replace Biden, and had he stepped aside sooner, there may have been other candidates. Pelosi also clapped back at Senator Bernie Sanders, telling the Times she doesn't respect Sanders saying that the Democratic Party has abandoned working class families. Sanders wants a more progressive party. He says it should come as no surprise that a Democratic Party that abandoned the working class found the working class abandoned them.
Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. And, whether it's Donald Trump that ends up winning the election or if it's Kamala Harris, oh God, we're in a world of a pickle, as my grandfather would say. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling like the system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And it's kind of funny because where I used to work with a lot of married men. And a lot of those married men would always complain about their spouses as if they really just didn't even like their spouses, which is sounding like a pretty horrible situation. But that was the case for many of them. They didn't like who they were married to. But I was different. Anyway, through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. But this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax or a tax on the poor. I'm now at a point where, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now.